Hello and welcome everyone to the Q&A for Deepen the Loving Presence Within and Develop Inner Strength through Devotional Chanting. I'm Carrie Hernandez with the Shift Network, and it is my pleasure to be your host as we explore the teachings of Krishna Das and address questions about his upcoming course, which begins on Wednesday, August 12th at 5 p.m. Pacific. And if you're unable to join us live, you can still participate in this course, and I'm going to explain more about that later. But first, I want to introduce my guest. Krishna Das has been called yoga's rock star with his soulful voice that touches the deepest chord in even the most casual listener. Krishna Das, known to family and friends simply as Katie, has taken call and response chanting out of yoga centers and into concert halls, becoming a worldwide icon and the best-selling Western chant artist of all time. He's released 17 albums since 1996. He performed at the 2013 Grammy Awards, where his album Live Ananda was nominated for the 2013 Grammy Award for Best New Age Album. So please join me in welcoming Krishna Das, who I believe is going to lead us in a little opening practice. Welcome, Krishna Das. It's great to have you with us.
Hi. Nice to see you again. Hi, everybody. This course has the longest title known to mankind, humankind. I don't know how we got it so long. However, let's just take a minute to get into a quieter space. It's hard for us to gather physically these days. So we have to gather in this virtual space. However, the space inside of us, our heart space, is the same in everyone. So when we enter more deeply into our own presence, we're actually connecting with all beings everywhere. Space of the heart, sky of the mind. We're right here in that space together. The body is only a vehicle. And we are the awareness in that vehicle. And that awareness is the same in all of us. So, good to be with you again here in this space.
Thank you, Krishna Das. All right, we're going to spend the rest of our time together exploring questions for Krishna Das as we are preparing for his video course. And how about I just shorten that right now for Deepen the Loving Presence Within? Because you're right, it's so long. It's so long. All right. Your course, Krishna Das,
probably my fault.
a lot to say, which is wonderful. And your course is starting on Wednesday, August 12th at 5 p.m. Pacific. And you can certainly visit our website, which is chantwithkrishnadas.com, to learn more about this 8-module course and find a link about registering. So let's just go ahead and get started with our questions. The first comes from Gary. Gary is asking, some say to follow a guru is the best way to travel the spiritual path, and you often speak of your guru. My question is, can we find our inner guru without the connection to an outer guru?
Obviously, the answer is yes, of course you can. And for most of us, we don't run into the guru in a human body. But that doesn't mean we aren't here. The other thing they say is that guru, God, and self are not different. They're actually the same thing. So there's no use running around, looking around outside for a guru. The inner guru is always with us, and living within us as our own true nature, our own true self. You understand, it's not something else. Because we're in physical bodies, we think, oh, we'll find a guru in another physical body. The guru doesn't think that. The guru knows that the body is just a piece of meat, and that the awareness that happens to be moving that body around, so to speak, is beyond the body. And so that's what we find within ourselves. The other thing is that a real guru can't do anything that is not in our best interests. So if we meet a guru in a physical body, a real guru, or if we don't, both of those things are in our own best interest. We are getting what we need all the time. We might not like it, but that's too bad for us, you know. We are getting what we need all the time. Everything we need for our liberation, for deepening our presence, for opening our hearts is available right now, wherever we are. And that's a very important point to realize. Otherwise, there's no sense even getting started with this stuff. Because, well, how's it going to work, you know? I got to find it out there somewhere. It's not like that. Maybe this life you won't find a real guru outside in the body, but that doesn't mean the guru is not with you. Everyone has a lineage of which the guru is a manifestation. Whether we know what that is or not is a different story. So let's work with the stuff that we know. Let's work with the stuff that we can see, which is our own bullshit and our own hang-ups and our own fears and our own anxiety and our own shame and our own anger and our own nastiness and our own selfishness. Let's work with that stuff, because that's right here, and that's what's covering up our true nature. And then we find the guru within. We find him everywhere, or her everywhere.
Rob is asking, what is the role of the physical body in bhakti practice?
I don't understand the question.
All right. Well, let's move to another one.
Make noise. Jump up and down. Scream the name of God as loud as you can. Get thrown out of your apartment. Thrown in jail for disturbing the peace. The role of the human body is the same in any practice. This is where we find ourselves, right here. Eventually we recognize that the body is not who we really are. But that takes some doing, because we're identified with the senses and the sense information and the thoughts that run through our head. Our job is to release those things, not push them away, that's a whole different thing, but to release them. And that takes practice over time, to learn to release the stuff that pulls us out of ourselves. Physical, mental, emotional, it doesn't really matter. So I don't know if that's what you're asking. If not, just ask again.
Thanks. Our next question is from Uri. Uri is asking, I have lost trust in the process once again. I do not feel supported and fear that the plan involves more pain and suffering. And I'm finding it difficult to surrender and just let go into the trust. My question is, how does one regain or develop this trust?
When you look in the mirror, do you trust what you see? What you see when you look in the mirror you see who you think you are. And we all have these kind of issues. We've all been hurt. Our hearts have been betrayed by in every possible way over millions of lifetimes, and including this lifetime. So, do you trust that you're here now? Who asked that question? Well, that's where you start to trust. There's no one that you need to trust outside of yourself, ever. Even if you need a teacher that you listen to and you agree with what that teacher says, where are you agreeing? Somewhere else, down the block? No, you're agreeing inside of you. So you're trusting yourself. And the same thing if you don't agree, if you don't like what somebody does. Where is that happening? Inside of you. So you already trust yourself. In fact, you trust yourself right now that you don't trust yourself. You believe that. So you really trust everything you think as being correct and accurate. You trust your emotions. You believe them. They tell you you're great, or they tell you you're a piece of shit. We believe everything we think. We never doubt it. That's pretty crazy. So just take it easy. No matter how many times we're hurt, we're still here. And the longing we have to be free of pain and find real love, that doesn't go away. That longing is what saves us. So just relax into that longing and don't worry about torturing yourself about whether you trust or not. It's not even an issue, really, because you do trust your feelings. And right now, that feeling is distrust. And you trust that. So recognize that you believe everything you think and feel. So the idea is to just try to relax a little bit and notice how deeply glued we are to our emotions, and just let go again and again. And that's why spiritual practice is so important, because we add another vector into our daily lives, whether it's a mantra or a practice watching the breath or your asana practice or something like that. We add that to our lives because we can always come back to that. That practice is happening inside us. Nobody has anything to say about that. We're doing it. We have it inside of us. So we can always let go of a thought and come back to ourselves, come back to the practice. That allows us to let go. If you try to pick yourself up like this, from the chair with your hands, you can't do it. There's no leverage. Through practice, through spiritual practice, you get some leverage to let go of just the kind of things that torture us and hurt us over and over again. The whole story of being someone who's hurt over and over again is a story that we believe, and it hurts us. So our job is to find a way to release ourselves from the grip of those kind of stories. Love lives within us as who we really are. And in order to move in that direction, we need to stop being pulled away like a hawk pulling a little rabbit off the ground and carrying it away. That's how our emotions and our thoughts carry us off. So through practice, over time, we develop an inner strength of letting go. And this is required. There's no other way to go. Every practice, one way or another, ends up with letting go of who we think we are and entering into a different, deeper feeling of being, of love, of presence. So, hopefully.
Thank you for that. Our next question is from Sophia, and she asks, if we and God are the same source, how do we know what our path and journey actually is? Are the things that are pleasurable breadcrumbs to know the path. Let me say that, excuse me. Are the things that are pleasurable breadcrumbs to know the path?
When you say we and God, it's not me and God. It's not my emotions, my thoughts. It's not who I think I am. It's not who I think I want to be. It's not my imagination. It's the divine presence within, the actual reality within us. This is not a part of the ego. This is not a part of me. It's a part of I, the sense of being. They're not, the ego and the sense of being are not the same thing. The ego is a conglomeration of millions and millions of thoughts and emotions and memories and fantasies and desires and aversions, the whole schmear, as they say in Yiddish. So let's get that clear, that the ego is not God. So when you're talking about pleasurable crumbs, the question is, who is experiencing that pleasure? Real pleasure, there's no experiencer. It's hard to talk about. It's beyond conceptual thinking. It's presence, it's being.
All right. Well, Alexa is asking, as a Westerner who's new to chanting, I discovered you and your music a couple months ago,
I thought you were talking about me.
I'm getting there.
I'm a Westerner who's new to. I've only been doing it about 50 or 60 years.
Well, Alexa, she's new to it. And she made a playlist because she loves to listen to your music, your songs, while driving and cooking. And so this is her question, as being somebody who is new to this practice. She's asking,
how do you drive and cook at the same time?
Very talented. Maybe it's like maybe it's like an RV. I don't know. So here's the question. Is chanting meant gotta think quickly with you. Is chanting meant to be a solo daily practice without doing any other activities? And do you have a recommendation of how long every day somebody should work on this, if it's every day?
You should do it by yourself for 24 hours a day for the rest of your life. And if you believe that, let's get over that. No. Actually, chanting is a practice that can very easily be done with lots of other people, as you might gather. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was one of the great saints of India, brought the practice kind of out of the temples and into the streets for people like us. And the idea is to pay attention to the chanting and the sound of the name, because what we're chanting is what they call the names of God, the divine name. So the idea is to pay attention to it while we're singing, while you're driving. You can be quietly singing inside or listening to it inside. You can be chanting it inside without music, without melody, just Rama, 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 like that. And the idea is to cultivate the habit of listening within, which includes singing out loud, because when you're singing out loud, where are you hearing? Within. You're not hearing it down the street. You're hearing it through your ears, and you're making the sound or listening to someone else. So the actual practice is happening within, even if it's out loud, so to speak. And as far as how much you do it every day, as much as you can, as much as you like. But when you do it, really be there with it. Try to pay attention, really, if you can. Sometimes you're cooking, you're driving, you're dealing with other people, and you can't really pay a lot of attention, but a little part of your mind can stay with the mantra inside of you. You know, they often give the image of, in India, the women go for water to these wells, and they carry these big clay water pots on their head, sometimes even just a metal cooking pot. And as they're coming back from the well back to the village, they're talking to each other, they're looking around. They're not really 100% paying attention to the pot, but they're aware of it. So they actually say that's how much attention you need to pay, no less than that. As if you're carrying a big pot of water on your head, you're aware of it, but it's well balanced, so you're not worried about it. You're moving, you're talking, you're turning your head, but you're always aware. And that's, to reach that level of awareness, it takes a while, but just keep chanting. That's the thing to do. You can't do too much. You're not trying to get somewhere else. You're not trying to make something happen. You're not trying to have any particular experience. You're chanting. Whatever experience comes into the field where you are, your field of awareness, your field of being. Whether it's high or low, up and down, pleasant or unpleasant, you're here with it. We tend to think that pleasant experiences are better than unpleasant experiences. They're certainly more pleasant, but they're not necessarily better or worse. So we cultivate an equanimity that isn't destroyed by what happens around us. And that's something that comes through practice over time. It's not something we have to make happen. Our job is to do the practice and let the practice ripen us from within as time goes on. So remember, it's not about willfully trying to make something happen. Trying to be with it as best you can, regardless of what's happening or what you're doing. There are times when you won't be able to sing out loud, and there are times when you can. That doesn't mean that you have to be unaware just because you can't be chanting out loud. So, okay?
Julian is asking, what is your feeling about angry and cathartic music? It seems to me there is little place for that in devotional chanting.
Angry and cathartic. That's interesting. So you're saying that kind of like loud, angry, loud volume, fast electric music maybe is angry, and you think that's cathartic. I think chanting is much more cathartic. I think, although I love punk rock, I love rock and roll. I don't find any problem with that. In fact, when I listen to loud music, it makes me so much more aware of hearing quietly within myself, of feeling a quiet presence within. But enjoy. Don't, if you like loud music, party. What's the problem? Enjoy it. Practice will change what you enjoy as time goes on. Don't try to squeeze yourself into some kind of shape that your neurosis tells you is better for you. Go out and enjoy whatever you enjoy without hurting yourself or anybody else, and add the practice to your life. You don't have to make things happen. You just have to, it's a good idea, do some practice and allow it all to ripen yourself from within. I wouldn't get stuck in judging things too harshly, like loud music or soft music, or this kind of music is better than that kind of music. I don't know. I love all music. Loud, soft, from all different cultures. Try to enjoy. Don't fence yourself in with a lot of judgmental mind. It's not a lot of fun.
Maddie is asking, how do you stay?
The Clash was one of my favorite bands, and they were loud.
Very loud.
Very loud.
You're right. And I know you can be loud if you want to. So, Maddie's question is, how do you stay out of your comfort zone? How do you stay out of your comfort zone for good? And how do you keep your emotions in control all of the time?
Why are you asking that question? Why would you want to force yourself to be out of your comfort zone? I don't understand. Do practice. Live your life. Become a good person. Try to treat other people well. Try to treat other people the way you would like to be treated. If you can do that, the whole universe will be your comfort zone. Don't try to force yourself to be some version of what you think is going to be holy. It's not going to be that. Guaranteed. That's just your version of self-hatred, projecting yourself outside. So it's not necessary to think like that. Let it go. Relax. Take it easy. Don't force yourself to be out of your comfort zone. There's no reason to do that. Life is hard enough as it is. We don't have to seek problems. They're there. They're inside already. Just try to be a good person. That's what this is all about.
Let's take our next question from Jacques. And Jacques is asking, what is a good mantra to clear the throat chakra?
I don't know. I don't know anything about that stuff. I don't know anything about chakras. The only mantras I do are to open the heart. If you want to open the throat, Om is good. If you try to resonate it deep in the throat or deep in the chest, and don't push or try too hard, just relax and make that sound at whatever note is comfortable, high, low, medium, it doesn't matter. When you're talking about opening the throat, there's a difference between your throat and your throat chakra. So if you're talking about just warming up the throat, you can simply just, the bathtub is a great place to sing. You lie back in the tub, and you can actually find a note that has harmonics. And I travel so much, so I'm always in hotels. So I get into the bathroom. Every hotel bathroom has a different harmonic level, a different note will set off the harmonics. So it's lots of fun to sing in the bathtub. Bring a couple of friends in with you and have a good time.
I'm just wondering what the person next door, that would be so great to be the person next door and hear you in your bathroom.
Yeah, and it gets loud too because those harmonics really, they woo like that. It's amazing.
All right. All right. Kenny is asking, why do our souls need to use our mind and the chosen body to find answers? Is the soul a mirror of God? Is that correct?
Let me point out that when you say the words you've just used, we don't even really know what those words mean. Soul or God. We don't know what the reality of what those words actually mean. So how to answer that question? We identify with our thoughts and our bodies at this point. But as we ripen, as we grow and ripen within ourselves, we see things differently. And little by little, we will lose the attachment and identification with the body and the sensations that come in through the senses. But right now, that's all we have. That's where our consciousness is stuck at this point and identified with. So this is where we work from. It's not that you have to. And I can give you some words about soul and God, but I personally don't have those experiences. But soul is if the Atma in Sanskrit means soul, if the Paramatma, the Supreme Soul, is like the moon, and there are many different pools, lakes, they all reflect that light. Each reflection of the moon is the Jivatman, the personal reflection of that moon, of the soul within us. The light, we are not the source of that light. We are a reflection of that light. The mirror of our hearts reflects that. And when we clean the mirror of our hearts, when we clean the mirror of our hearts of the dust of lifetimes of greed and shame and fear, of anger and sadness and selfishness, if we clean the mirror of our hearts, what's reflected is the pure, undistorted light of the soul, of the Supreme Soul, of which we are all a part. The reflection within us, which is our Atma, our soul, is a literal reflection of reality. And when we perceive that clearly as we ripen on the path, our illusion of being separate is relinquished, and we recognize that we are the same, we are that light, we are a reflection of that one light, which is the same in all beings. So I'm not sure if that answers your question or not, but I hope it's not too bad.
Thank you. You know, we've had a few questions asking if there was going to be chanting today, and while you were away, I explained no power, no harmonium, no chanting today. And Joy is asking, yeah, she was asking about it, and Joy specifically was interested because she's not familiar with the process. And so I was just wondering if you might give us a quick insight in these classes, how the chanting will come about and be held by you.
Well, I chant the same way, whether there's one person with me or no people, or 100 people or 1,000 people. I play the harmonium and I sing the line. I chant one of the mantras, and then I leave room for a response. So you'll be alone in your apartment or not, or wherever you live. And I do suggest you wear headphones, because that'll sound better than the tiny little computer speakers that we have. So I'll sing a line and then leave a chance for you to respond, and then I'll sing another line. It goes back and forth. If you go to my YouTube channel, Krishna Das Music, or just Krishna Das YouTube, you can see a lot of live videos that we did with a group of people. There's also a lot that we've done in the pandemic times with just me here. You'll just hear me, but you'll see what that's like. But also go and listen, find some of the live things that we've done where you hear the crowd, how that goes back and forth all the time. And it builds. And the repetition allows the mind to pay a little bit of attention, to relax a little bit and kind of land a little bit inside oneself. And that's why repetition is very important. It's part of the practice. One of the first reviews I ever got many years ago when I sang in LA, it was in the LA Times. It said, well, I heard Krishna Das chant, and it was pretty good, but it was a little repetitive. I thought, really? Well, at least he was paying attention. So that's how it works. I sing a line, then you repeat, you listen. And so with chanting, it's really not so straightforward a practice. First you hear, you listen, you hear the chant. then you chant. But you're still hearing your own chanting. So even though you're making noise, there's also the parallel inner experience going on of hearing. Hearing is very interesting. It's different than listening. It's a deeper place than listening. When you really hear, there's a relaxed awareness, very deep and very relaxed. You're really hearing. When you're listening, it's very shallow, and there can be a lot of thoughts and a lot of stuff, which we will be dealing with, of course. But there are moments when you actually find yourself really hearing it, and that will be a much deeper experience. And that comes and goes, it comes and goes. So what's important also is that you don't try to have any type of experience. You don't try to get high. This is not a drug. This is not a high or a low or an in and out or anything. This practice brings us home to ourselves. So don't try to manipulate your emotions and have any particular type of feeling. Don't be judging. You will be judging, so you notice you're judging. Oh, this is good, or I can't pay any attention, I can't concentrate. That's a thought, let it go. You can always let go. You can always let go until that day where there's no one to let go. So I wish that for all of us.
Our next question, and I'm looking at the time, perhaps our last one today, is from Sandra. And Sandra asks, if I am not sure about how I feel about God and the divine, how might chanting practice be helpful to me?
I'm not sure how I feel about the God and the divine either, but I'm pretty sure how I feel about myself. I know I have issues. I know I have a lot of things I enjoy, things I don't like, aversions. I know I have fear. I know I have shame and anger and selfishness, and I want to be free of those feelings. So I don't even think about that stuff like the God or the divine. I just deal with what I know is in front of me, which is my stuff. So in chanting, these names are not the names of something out there up in the sky. These are the names of what lives within us. Just like you can look up at the sun and we say sun. In India, they say Surya. In Spanish-speaking countries, they say a different name. The Russians call it this. The Germans call it that. But it's the same sun. Same with us. These names, Ram, Krishna, Kali, Durga, Shiva, these are all names of the same place within us. One place, the oneness that lives within us as who we truly are. So you don't have to believe anything. You don't have to have blind faith. You don't have to push yourself into some fake kind of happiness and fake kind of holiness. Totally, absolutely don't do that. Just chant and see how it feels. If it appeals to you, you'll do it. If it doesn't, you won't. It's no problem. It brings us home to ourself, our true self, which is a part of God and not different from God and Guru. The self is not different from that. So what are those things? We don't even know. You say you don't believe in God. You don't know what that is that you don't believe in. Right? You don't believe there is a God, but but you're talking about that guy with the big beard who lives up in the sky and throws thunderbolts down if we're bad little boys and girls? What is God to you? Don't even think about it. Just try to liberate your heart from suffering. That's the deal. And this practice will do that.
Thank you, Krishna Das. And I'm being mindful of our time here. And my next question is for you. will you share what you're most looking forward to sharing in this class for those who take the journey with you?
I'm hoping for electricity. That's my main hope. Good, solid electricity. My hope is that over the course of the time, the 8 weeks together, that you'll find you'll get a better feeling for what it is, for how to find a better way to live, how to be yourself more completely, how to not be so hard on ourselves, because we're so hard on ourselves. It's terrible. We've been trained so well by this world to be hard on ourselves and judgmental. It's not required, actually, but it's very hard to get over. So I just hope that everybody gets a little something from the Course, some way that they can work with themselves and find a way to be more at ease in their own hearts. And that would make one more at ease with everybody's hearts. Find a way to be good to other people and good to ourselves. And we'll be sharing many different practices. Perhaps one of those practices or more will actually speak to you and allow you to use that practice to deepen your experience of life and find real happiness and real love. Love that doesn't come and go. Love you don't have to fall in or fall out of. The love that lives within us is who we really are.
Thank you all for joining us. Deepen the loving presence within and develop inner strength through devotional chanting. I know it's
Title in the universe. It's crazy.
Oh, golly, I know. Your course begins Wednesday, August 12th, and it's going to be at 5 p.m. Pacific. And you are welcome to please visit chantwithkrishnadas.com to learn more. We have the special bonus that if you do register by August 7th, you'll receive the special recording, Taoist Hanuman, an album featuring Krishnadas, Jayutal, Trevor Hall, and others as a thank you. And Krishnadas, I am so grateful for the tenacity of you coming back, for you starting the generators, rerouting, and thank you.
Going to different computers. We were on the phone, we were on the MacBook, we were on the iMac. Now I got to run out and pour some gas in the generator before the food rots in the refrigerator.
Oh, thank you so much. Do you have any parting words for us before we meet again?
Take good care of yourselves, and I hope to see you soon. Ram Ram. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so much, Krishnadas. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and your enthusiasm and your spirit here. It lifts us all. Thank you. And thank you on behalf of the Shift Network. I wish you well, and I look forward to having you on this course or one in the future. All the best to you. Bye-bye.